Hello, everyone. Hope you had a good Christmas. So there's a story out where Senator Mark Kelly, who's a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, is asking the Marine Corps for some answers. Evidently, there was an incident in 2004 during the first Battle of Fallujah where two Marines were killed. One was seriously injured, and there's also an Iraqi interpreter who was killed. And evidently, the Marine Corps covered it up, claiming that it was due to enemy action. And 3 years later, because of pressures from Congress, they came out and said, no, it was due to friendly fire. The Marines that were involved was Rob Zurheide, Brad Shutter, and a Corporal Smith lost a leg and an eye. And Corporal Smith didn't find out about this until he saw a documentary recently that the Marine Corps lied about it. They blatantly just made it up. What had happened was an officer who was working the plotting board at the time plotted position wrong, and consequently the mortar round hit friendly troops. And Congressman Duncan Hunter, Sr., and he was a very powerful individual on the House Armed Services Committee. His son, that Marine officer, later on also became a congressman. So we don't know if the Marine Corps covered this up because of the position of the father and later on the son who took over the father's seat from California, or was there other reasons behind this? So Senator Kelly wants answers, and he wants them fast. So he called the assistant commandant in Mahoney and asked him, hey, get to the bottom of this. I want to know because my constituents are still looking for answers. And the first Battle of Fallujah was the first Marine Expeditionary Force under Lieutenant General Conway. The division was the 1st Marine Division under Major General Mattis at the time. His deputy was Brigadier General Kelly. Now, later on, if you remember, Brigadier General Kelly became a 4-star general. General Mattis became a 4-star general, a combatant commander at CENTCOM, and also became the Secretary of Defense. Lieutenant General Conway became the Commandant of the Marine Corps. So now you got 3 general officers, and I'm pretty damn sure they knew about the incident when these 2 Marines were killed, an Iraqi interpreter was killed, and a Marine was severely injured, losing a leg and an eye. They knew about it. I guarantee you they knew about it. Okay? And somehow or the other, they decided to cover it up. Now, we talk about honor, courage, and commitment. So these Marine officers, generals, covered up the death of Marines for the benefit of the institution or because of the power and the influence of the congressman. One or the other. At the time, there were 3 officers that were recommended for punishment. General Mattis disagreed. And around the same time, Congressman Hunter, Sr., visited General Conway's headquarters in Iraq. So this was like 2 days after the incident, and that just so happened that he was there. And the battalion commander is promoted to a 3-star general. So there's no accountability at all for the death of these Marines. Obviously, Corporal Smith was wounded, but there's several others that were also wounded. I believe there were 3 that were seriously wounded. And that just shows you, if you're part of the good old boys network in the military, you're going to be protected. That's how it works, despite, and accidents do happen. Don't get me wrong. But the point being is cover-ups should not happen. That's the important part here. And when General Officer willfully abuse their authority and cover up the truth from the public, they should be held accountable. It's really that simple. And at the same time, if you remember in 2004, roughly around the same time, there's also another fratricide incident, friendly fire incident, an Army soldier, Pat Tillman, where, he was unfortunately killed because of friendly fire, and the Army covered that up and awarded him a Silver Star to make it look like it was because of enemy action. Reality is it wasn't. They just lied. So, and the Tillman lie, Fallujah lie, all these generals got promoted. They all made it, achieved high ranks, and they all retired, getting $200,000 a year in pension, while getting jobs with the military-industrial complex, while the families are still looking for answers. This is unconscionable. This is the United States of America. We just don't lie to the families of our service members. And then we wonder, why is recruiting down? We've got the best military in the world. I have no doubt. That's because of our troops and our equipment and our staff NCOs and our young officers. But the problem is, at the senior officer level, we suck. And we suck because our generals are not honest. They're more worried about how they look in front of the public. They're worried about how the institution looks. Look, the American public will understand that we screwed it up, but we got to tell them the truth. That's what a democracy is based upon. And that's the reason that the First Amendment is there. So people speak the truth. But if we're going to have general officers that lie so they keep getting promoted and achieve the 4-star level, so they get this high-paying pension, and then they get these high-paying jobs or get political appointments like Kelly and Mattis did. Kelly ended up being the chief of staff of President Trump, and he's Secretary of Homeland Defense, if you remember. So when generals cover up and these things, resurface. Well, for the last 20 years, we've been hearing Mattis, and you see shit like this. I mean, that's unacceptable. The guy compromised himself. He covered it up. He didn't hold officers accountable, for the death of Marines. And then later on, when the media got hold of General Conway, he refused to answer any emails about the incident. And then finally, they found him in Annapolis, Maryland, and they handed him a bunch of questions. It took him 5 months to respond to those questions, and he claimed that he didn't remember the incident. I mean, are you shitting me? You had 2 Marines die in a mortar accident. You had several get hurt, and you don't remember the incident when a congressman's son is involved in it? I mean, come on, General Conway. Don't play the fiddle here, buddy. You know better. General Conway knew about the incident. And it goes back to another podcast where I talked about where, the general had all these dog tags hanging off him, and I asked him to name one person or those dead Marines' dog tags, and he couldn't name a single person. Or the general that went to a memorial service and 2 hours later forgot the Marine's name. So where's these people's heads at? What are they thinking? General officers nowadays are self-serving, and that's my whole point. So we have to get to the bottom of this, get the families the answers they deserve pronto, and then the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of the Navy need to have some balls and call these generals back to active duty and hold them accountable under the UCMJ for lying, for false reporting. And until we start doing that, we're not going to clean it up. And we will never go back to the time of General Marshall, General Eisenhower, General Patton, General Ridgway, General Bradley, and all the great icons of World War II that created this modern military. And now we've got these self-serving generals that are chiseling away at it. And then we have the debacles like we did in Kabul. And, that general got full retirement pension. And, he's enjoying life, $200,000 a year. Well, we've got 13 service members dead. You got over 40 wounded, and you got 10 Afghans that were erroneously killed in a drone strike, 7 of them children, and several hundred Afghans killed and wounded. And this clown is out there enjoying retirement. Why did he get retirement and grade? Why is he not called back and held accountable? And we still haven't gotten answers from the Kabul debacle. And now we're back all the way back to 2004, almost 20 years this happened. So we got to clean it up. That's all I got. Stay rugged. Khan out.